And welcome back as we watch FaZe fall in map 1. As Sentinels looks absolutely fantastic on that first map. And we start to ask ourselves a question we've all been wondering, Potter. Is this a honeymoon period for FaZe? How long can this go on? And is there some sustainability problems?
Don't be soft now, Potter.
No, those are absolutely valid questions. And, you know, we heard Baby Bay talking about it in his interview, even the fact that, you know, they thought they had a pretty decent game plan on Icebox, and then they just hands off, stopped touching it, stopped revisiting it. And versus a team like Sentinels, who has their fundamentals, their foundation down to a T, and all they've got to do is switch a light, bring 10s onto the squad, and really bring the aggression out forward. You start to see that lack of depth from FaZe really starting to bite them in these certain situations. There was hardly any poking and prodding that we see coming out from defaults. There was hardly any bait and switches, no crossfires, and hardly any trades to be found. And these are those fundamentals that we know that Sentinels are going to be leaning hard into. So for FaZe, you saw it time and time again when they're entering those sites. Those trades were kind of nowhere to be found.
Looking at that series in general, though, Veli, one of the biggest pieces for Sentinels was that all play from Shazam. And even though Baby Bay is a perfectly capable opper, because it took them so long to get their foot in the door, you look, it was 8 rounds in a row for Sentinels to kick things off. FaZe didn't really have the money, so the op wasn't something that was going to necessarily come into play. That was a huge factor that allowed Sentinels to just kind of put it on cruise control.
You're right. FaZe couldn't get their credits right, so Shazam put the baby to sleep. Yo, so we were saying it actually the last time we saw FaZe Clan play. What if a team brings an op in the back and just wait for them to make those aggressive pushes? Envy tried it, but they sent Mummy over to B, which didn't make sense, right? Shazam stood in heaven and was able to get the pops. Now, the beauty about that is that if you take a look at Zoms in that first clip, right? Everybody on Sentinels, they're in a spot to where he can't just updraft and get an easy kill. He's gonna have to really get up there to get that angle, and with that happening, Shazam was right there for the easy pops, man. That's how you stop FaZe on Icebox. I'm happy we saw that.
I think on that too, whenever they were going to be able to make it into the site on the A side for FaZe, then you had faster rotations because you had someone like Tens and you had somebody like Dapper that was playing towards mid side that could also rotate faster to A or B. So those rotations are really quick here for Sentinels, but at the same time, the Frost Orbs that was thrown in, right? Once you make it past 4 Tens, the Frost Orbs on the ground, that doesn't allow doesn't allow FaZe to get any more aggression towards the sites. So Sentinels played a very good defense. And when you look towards the attack, we always talked about, hey, FaZe likes to go towards the A side, full send and not have anybody lurk. Sentinels did the same thing, except it went towards that B side, because you know that on the A side, usually you have the aggression from Tori and from Baby Bay, and they didn't have a chance to get that for FaZe, which allowed pretty much for Sentinels to control that first map.
Unfortunately, that first match just felt like that classic Smeek playstyle we've all been wanting to see just didn't actually come to fruition. As it was,
slowed down.
It was all Sentinels all day. Now we move over to Haven, which is a map that we know historically is very strong for Sentinels, and is a map that typically teams try to keep out of the rotation, along with Split, another map that they've been very good at historically. So Vansili, just looking at this next map, are you a little bit concerned for the FaZe fans out there that this could be another potential blowout here for Sentinels?
I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but I would still be careful if I'm FaZe because this is Sentinel's home ground.
All right, well, we do have our casters standing by to see if we're right about that one. We've got Doug and Rivington, and I've been trying to come up with a casting name for them all week long. Divington doesn't really fit. Duggington also kind of,
yes.
I guess we'll call him Duggington. Duggington, what do you got?
Don't do that. Don't use it.
You know, I kind of mess with Duggington. I was thinking more like initials. We've got D and we've got R, so we're doctors, right? Like, I think that slaps a little more than Duggington, but I mean,
I like it.
There's not a whole lot there, much like there wasn't a whole lot on the attacking side for FaZe on Icebox. But Riv, we talked about how the operator was the water that like extinguished the fire of FaZe. Haven lent itself to that a lot too.
It does. I feel like there's more options for FaZe here for their strategy to work. This is a much easier find the op, avoid the op type of map with Haven. You can know they're at A. If you see them lower, they'll probably be long. They'll probably be B. That's a C hit if you're ready for it with Garage. A lot more of that I feel like works towards FaZe, and with the utility being a little bit deeper, they can avoid the op, get to site, and Sentinels will be caught in much more of a rotation. That's what we saw the first few rounds of FaZe. I should say that went FaZe's way on Icebox. I feel like they can utilize that a bit more here. For Haven, it is going to be one play throughout the tournament so far coming in for FaZe. And looking on the other side, it's one play for Sentinels, but we know how much Sentinels love this map.
Right, 16-14 against 100 Thieves on Haven just a couple of days ago. And while they almost let that slip away, it was Sick who really put on a masterful performance. You know, that map opened up the door to talk about how consistent Sick is, how good he is, how he just delivers when the team needs him to, and he does so time and... Riv, you let me down, bro.
Time again?
Yes. Totally took the wind out of my sails. Anyway, Sick is just so good here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him, see if he can replicate that performance. And Tens also had himself one hell of a map on Haven last time around.
You were making such a damn good point, and I was like, and then I'm going to bring up Zachary, because he does the same thing. And I was like, let me say it already. Oh, he did that. But no, I do want to bring up Zachary, though, as we just go off the rails there for a second. As he does the same thing. You know, we see him just able to open up more on the breach. That's what we like to see, or that's what FaZe likes to see here on this. Instead of the Omen, was a bit lackluster from him there on Icebox. But breach is, I believe, really where we see Zachary shine here within the FaZe squad, and we're going to get that from him right there.
Now, and the reason we want to be so intentional about pointing out Zachary on the breach specifically is because unless you slow down and really look at the film, you miss it. But the truth is, Zachary on the breach opens the map for FaZe on Bind, right? He does so, he's able to open up so much room for Baby Bay and for Marv to work, and you expect, given his playstyle, given how good he is as a support player, you expect to see a lot of the same here on Haven.
So when I made a note of it the other round when FaZe was retaking a post plant on B for defense on Icebox, and it was Corey's nade into Baby Bay's dash. This is what we'll see with Zachary, as you just said, and we tweeted about it a few days ago. FaZe is one of the best teams at using all of that utility in combination to take a site. Now, that sounds obvious. You use utility to take a site, but not being a Sova dart, you get pings, then you move. Everything is happening simultaneously for FaZe, which has made them such a juggernaut in the past. They just have this freight train squad, and it works so much better with the breach on that squad.
And, you know, the other thing I like is, as we talk about how FaZe play around utility, is it's different. Right? Like, it's not the similar looks that we get on where you have common lineups for Sova darts, for example, right? Or some of the breach utility. They really kind of push the limits on how you can think about an agent. So there should be a ton of fun to watch. I think another thing to mention on the side of Sentinels, as they're going to start off on attack, Dapper on a Cypher, meanwhile, FaZe opting not to bring one into the fold.
Yep. Dapper loving that. It's here the breach, Jet, Omen, Raze, Sova is tried and true for FaZe. They've been loving running that. Raucous, trying to build a bit of a ruckus here. Starting off with that shorty nice and close, pushed up on A, and they're gonna have some good traps behind them. We'll see. I think it's gonna be that Dapper lurk, and he'll be able to notify them. But yeah, FaZe moving together here. I should say Sentinels as they move up, and it's going to be Insight with that dash. Tens will start them off.
Yeah, it's just going to be a straight-up retake. I think Dapper, as you said, in a position to really set this sideways. But if you're FaZe, you're sniffing some of it out, right? Like you're the sniffer, making sure
Hello, goodbye.
Good night. Baby Bait drops. There's the first kill. in favor of Sentinels. Great use of utility here as we see FaZe. We talked about the utility, their ability to use that to get onto the site. There's a chance for it, but Tens with the ghost, already good for 2. Looking for another. Rocket trades it out. Sick. Trading that back. Corey's left alone, and he's not around for long. What a round by Sentinels.
There's so much control there, a lot of patience. Some, obviously, a lot of them were in the site, so the post plant just becomes a flurry of everybody shooting back and forth. But the members that were hiding there for Sentinels, to make sure there were a few left alive to continue to defend. Just smart play overall. Sometimes you got to throw bodies at the problem. Sometimes you got to wait, and they did a little of both there.
And Riv, the chaos that we were talking about in the last map, how FaZe seemed to thrive there. Again,
Yes.
That's another one that goes in favor of Sentinels. Bit of a different look here, as they're going to show a little towards A. I like this push from Marv. Nice to take some of that space. Is pushed back. I mean, at this point, FaZe should be able to pull off at least a little bit and lean towards A, knowing all of the noise that's been made.
Zoms with orb control over on C as the team starts to make up ground. Sick here on the bonus. Dapper's going to pick 2 up with the Spectre, possibly a 3rd as Corey gets that. No possibility to grab that Spectre, though, Doug. As a few bits of econ damage get done to Sentinels, it's Baby Bay left to see what he can do.
Yeah, against 4 Spectres, I mean, I guess it's Baby Bay, right? So you don't... Yeah, I guess you can't count them out here. But, you know, we saw FaZe on the... We've talked about their utility, right? But
Yep.
Sentinels and their use of utility there, using the recon dart from Shazam in conjunction with the hot hands from Sick to clear out the player that was playing in A short and really, like, tee up a free kill, right? Like, you can't stand in that corner because of the hot hands. And then you have the ping exposing where he is. It was easy.
Yep. Quick plays, quick info plays. Really, it's awesome to see the teams rather adjust, make it happen, and then go back to exactly what they were running without a hitch. It's going to be a drone push up C here, and this is what I said they might be doing. Identify where an operator might be. Don't have to deal with that yet, obviously, but the death ball. Sentinels may want to run together on these sites. Baby Bay grabs 1 and 2.
Down, C.
Baby Bay drops. Great response from Sick. But they made a lot of noise towards C. They are able to pick up the spike. I was worried about that. They're going to rotate off. But again, Riv, Marv has made his way up A long, back into attacker spawn. Right? So that's going to cut off any bit of rotation coming through. They almost have to commit to C here.
The trap could give them a false sense of security. That's one thing that happens with it. They are still going to be very wary of what's going on. Yeah, they know. Quick peeks to the left, and they're going to have to check it one more time. Right, rather, as Sick is able to drop Marv. Now it's a mad rush to see what they can accomplish before finding another member.
And you see
FaZe squad.
You see FaZe. They sent Raucus, but they left 2. Right? Expecting Sentinels to go back to see where they were at the scene of the crime just a few moments ago. Raucus is going to get a ton of info here. I love that shoot. Covers the noise.
Wow.
Not expected at all. Excellent play by Raucus.
Limping over there, doing what he can after a big crunch. Great hide on the phantom shots. And good push by the team as well. They synergized that retake and made sure it was not a problem. FaZe stopped the bleeding much earlier here. And we'll see what they can continue to do on the defensive side of Haven. Starting off on what is considered the harder side due to the fact that as you're on attack, you get to decide where your distribution of players is.
Right.
That's always the advantage.
Now, Riv, tell me this. If you're playing and you see a team continually take space away, like we saw Marv do there where he was back in defender spawn, yeah, they knew it was there. But what does that do to your mentality as you call out the map?
Well, you're already wanting to be able to get back and identify that you have lost that area, right? The trip's supposed to be there for the push forward into the site, so then it can be used as a return on investment to know the big flank is coming. When you have to work back through it, it's like you don't have the info. So it makes you play much different in that situation, and you're basically going off of feel and who you see.
Corey using the satchel charge there to try to clear out the cam. It's a slightly different spot. Baby Bay with the Blade Storm. Takes care of Sick early on. Seems like for Sentinels, they should be getting a good bit of info on C.
Yeah.
might try to expose that, potentially with the hit-up garage as well, but much like we saw a few rounds ago, Dapper's going to be playing back in that spot across the middle of the map.
Corey in a good spot. They're making sure they can keep themselves a little pushed up to get the info. So no one garage yet. They know everything that's happening as they hear the spike getting planted is going to be in C so far. And you see Sentinels wanting to kind of clear garage with a 2 team. They're waiting.
Wait, I love this from FaZe. Riv, Zachary shows up, and he aftershocks right behind that box, understanding that's what the plant was. That delays the plant. Now the spike goes down, but at this point, FaZe has arrived. Corey's already good for 3-10s with a filthy flick in a 1v3. Got the op, but he's going to get pinched in from all sorts of angles. Rockus is going to drop him. FaZe tie us up at 2 apiece.
Such a big round from Corey. About to get pincered from both sides. Takes an early peek, figuring, you know, it's been way too long. Something's not right here. As we're trying to plant, there must be some aggression. Boom. And then able to trade a few more. Absolute stellar play from him to help this round out. And then a little damage to 10s, and there's the flank coming in from Rockus.
And I like how FaZe are playing this, right? Like I mentioned in the previous round, they're reading some of how Sentinels like to play. So a much stronger performance for FaZe, at least early on Haven, relative to what we saw in Icebox. But now Sentinels looking to dial up a little something towards A. You heard the Bladestorm has been used. And we're seeing a lot of that early, the early fault line from Zachary. Down, fighting for A lobby control. They're gonna full
There's
send.
the flash.
Shadows traveling.
Burn away in a smoke, gonna buy some time. As it looks like Sentinels are reconsidering potentially going towards a long or just peeling off. They're not finding what they want, but that pick changes everything. The neural theft is going to be used as well. Here we go. Showstopper being used from Corey in responses. No, 10s with the Bladestorm. Good for 1 and a second as he rips Corey and Rockus down. That's going to give him access to the site. The Spike's got to hurry, though they do have the numbers advantage. They should be able to assume post plants and get the spike down. Now it's going to be FaZe in a 2v4. No Rolling Thunder, no Bladestorm. An op, yes. But this is where you kind of wonder, do you go for it? Do you save? It looks like they don't want to have anything to do with the rest of this round.
If you had Rockus, maybe. Hunter's Fury is there, and you need the find and the dart to get back into the site. They'll be doing a little hunting here. Shazam comes around the outside. He's rocking his Sheriff, but that was a heck of a round from Shazam, or from certain Thames, I'm sorry. Daggers out, flying through, and it's one of the things that we haven't touched on much. I'm sure it's been talked about, but that transition of Tens being able to switch to Reyna, Shazam going back to Jet, having the versatility of agent switch between those two, and such impact agents, right? You know, they can just flow between them, and that's such a dangerous thing that Sentinels bring to the table.
Riv, it was against 100 Thieves on Ascent, where we saw a moment where 100 Thieves might be able to get back into the game when they were on the attack. Asuna uses the showstopper from Market to get onto B, and Tench drops him with 1 bullet of the Vandal, and he's done that consistently. So you're seeing some of the Tense effect, right? When it seems like they have an opportunity to crack the site open, to do something that's going to really change the pace of the round, Tense is there, comes up huge in moments like that. But I love this aggression, the flash, Baby Bay going right down C long, not going to spot anyone, but you already feel some of that pressure, and they're doing the same thing down A long as well. This is textbook FaZe, right? Pinching in from both sides, forcing them one way. Nice sidestep from Zachary, and he gets the kill as well.
You said it right there, textbook. You make the opponent sweat right off the bat. The flawless from FaZe. A little bit back online there, and I think the fans are happy to see that.
Man, and in that moment, it's so difficult to really respond, right? You know that they're running down C long. They've also taken A long as well. You don't really have a ton as far as options go, and they even had the wherewithal to flash out, so Zachary can't hit the op, and it's just beautifully sidestep, and he delivers the shot. FaZe played that round very well.
I mean, you look at what that style creates, right? FaZe always has you on the major look. They look for Baby Bay. Zachary capitalizes on the off shot down C. You're completely bewildered because their FaZe is just firing on all cylinders for that round, and it hasn't been expected. Sick, able to drop 2. Beautiful, run it back as he starts. And we'll see Tens now pushing through, hopping through the window just to get that frag.
From the window to the wall, he uses the Hunter's Fury and the run it back at the same time, and they stack that together. That allows him to get in and really blow everything up, right? FaZe is just down to 2 members left in a 2v5. We talked, I know I mentioned this earlier, Riv, but we talk about how FaZe stack utility and ultimate so well. Sentinels just gave him a taste of their own medicine.
Flawless. Coming from the other side now, as Sentinels say, we got that same power in the bag. A lot of money on the side of the FaZe clan. You can see Baby Bay sitting on a big chunk of change there. This play from Sick during, like you said, during that distraction of the Hunter's Fury is what we were talking about earlier, in that combination of utility. It's so great to see, and honestly, I think it's like at just a starting level. There's so much to min-max about utility usage and what choke points can be used from what angles and during rotation. Yeah, cannot wait. This game has so much to grow, and it's going to be amazing. Let's see what we have here coming into round 8. 4-3 as Haven is much closer than game 1.
Marv taking a good bit of no way. No way. The
Shits
drone
in
doesn't
the night.
catch him. And Marv can go in aggressively. Now the jig's up, and Shazam responds beautifully by taking Marv out.
Just not, it didn't even hesitate. Yeah. Bow away, takes a shot. Zoms from the shadows. Rockus still having that Hunter's Fury. We'll see how they use it here.
Great flash. Corey with the swing. Dapper with an even better one. As he dispatches him, they're going to use from the shadows to get into the back of B. Now Sentinels look to expose some of that. Keep a close eye on Zoms. How much damage can he do to prevent the rotate in? Excellent use of the aftershock, but for Zachary, just a hair too late. He gets the kill, but the spike goes down. Zachary has that Rolling Thunder. Able to use it to get back onto the site, but the thing is, you've got Tens back in window with an operator, and that makes it so difficult to get in. Cloudburst can make him think twice about it. Sid with the curveball, flashing out as they try to push forward. There's that Rolling Thunder that we talked about. Sid once again with the flash. He drops. Tens has to have high impact here, but Baby Bay pushes in aggressively, right? They're going to use the fault line. They're going to push Tens off. I don't know that Tens can do anything about it here. The Hunter's Fury is going to be used to push back Shazam, and I don't know that
They're on it.
Shazam has time.
Oh my word. Red Bull clutch coming through. Honestly, I'd be pulling my hair out if I was FaZe there. It's just like, fight me, do it. So much utility coming over. Tens just not peeking. Oh my word. And Tens is the guy to peek. He's the guy that's always going to peek, and he just holds the line. They play cat and mouse so well. Sentinels coming up with that round.
Again, to have the wherewithal to delay just long enough
Yeah.
to have the
Good
spike
live
go
there.
off. Yeah, and then Zachary dying there too certainly doesn't feel good. Very well played from Sentinels. FaZe at a 2-round deficit, showing some of that early look towards A lobby control again. Rockus going in, Baby Bay with the op. That is not an option on the map for Sentinels at this time.
Great job sourcing out where Sentinels could be headed this round. Rock is pushing up right away. FaZe changing their game a little bit here. Not changing it, going back to a little bit more with confidence. They're going to leave Baby Bay pushed up. Blade Storm could become useful here in this round as they start to set up for what might be a C hit, and they're calling it correctly for now.
No ultimates online. There is still an operator in the hands of Tens. Paranoia is going to come out. It's going to push a couple of members back. And I love this. They invest the utility and they pull right off. Oh, man. Baby Bay was waiting for that the entire time. It was very similar to what we saw from Marv in the defender spawn, but this time it was Baby Bay with the knock. Down A short. Now they know A short's not an option. They don't want to go C long because of what they just did over there. That's going to force them into B.
Sentinels heading into B. Name a more iconic couple, honestly. They get themselves in, and whether it's the dash and plant round or it's the late B round. They have such good cover on this. Already pushed up through A. Look at these positions, Doug.
Zoms is in trouble. Zoms is in trouble. He's gonna get pinched off. Rockus is on the flank. Shazam was on one as well. I mentioned he was in trouble, but the man steps up again. Drops 2 on the side of FaZe. Tens is up. Continues to sing. Rockus is left alone.
Bullseye.
Beautiful shot. Looking for the econ hits here. Almost gets the operator out. Does he want it again? Tens did, and 6 gonna trade. Maybe they can run back and grab it, but the money's good for Sentinels. They should be able to purchase another operator if they need it. A 6-3 here. Sentinels start to pull away from FaZe on Haven.
Man, and again, Zoms was in a really precarious spot here, right? Because you're having that push in from Garage. Rockus was around from the attacker spawn again, and he was kind of stuck there, right? But he just shows nobody puts Zoms in a corner, and he's gonna punch his way right through. Huge impact kills to open up the round.
And this makes me wonder, Doug, this makes me wonder what homework Shazam did to know that after the beginning of the round, B is not something that is covered by FaZe. Maybe that one was triggered by Baby Bay being pushed up so far on A that they knew the rotations would be flexed out a little bit from the middle of the map, and they didn't see anything there. Shazam again. You got to be kidding me right now. Straight through that trap. Baby Bay's creating a little bit of pressure, and this is exactly what FaZe needs to do. No round can just be textbook for Sentinels right now. FaZe has to put the pressure on, and Sentinels is adding even more pressure. They say, ante up, we're going to raise the stakes.
I love that from Baby Bay, understanding there was pressure coming from Sentinels towards C. He takes that space away with the Blade Storm, does a little bit of damage, but then they're just able to push right through. Look at Tens, man, already good for 1, gonna dash away, preserve his life. Just a sliver of health. Exactly, and the flash was there, and the flash doesn't matter. Sentinels continue to expose different areas of the sites. They're doing it in a myriad of different ways, and they look good on attack.
Just really have something different for each round, Doug. Like, we're not seeing the same thing. This isn't a utility out, spam through utility, find a frag, and make our way somewhere. They're getting FaZe to move around in positions that are advantageous for then the 2 of Sentinels to swing, finding somewhere and getting the intel on Baby Bay or X-Agent. And they're really playing a cerebral game that is not allowing FaZe to play their rush strat.
Dial it up again. Baby Bay dashing down with the flash. Sick. Responds with a curveball of his own and the paranoia. You imagine that's going to go into the ult orb. It's going to go into the hands of Sick to bring the run it back online. Meanwhile, the rest of Sentinels very comfortable right now, just kind of feeling things out, seeing what FaZe throw their way before they make a decision.
Like you mentioned, the run it back is there. One of the best places for that is Garage, right? Close impact, a lot of ground can be gained immediately, but anywhere is good, especially if you can get him all the way down short. Pushed up here from Marv. He's going to be trying to hide from this drone. And see, this has not been cleared. A little bit of round was done, or a little bit of default was done, so drone is definitely necessary. Run it back there from short. We'll see what they can do.
Oh, excellent use of the flash. He has to wait off, and then he uses the from the shadows to get to safety. Meanwhile, Rockus, good to take care of Tens. Excellent response to the run it back. Doesn't provide a whole lot of value, but kills continue to drop left and right. Marv, who managed to stay away alive early on, is good for 2 at the end to give the numbers advantage to FaZe. Now Shazam is in a 1v2. He doesn't have a Hunter's Fury. Does have the spike. But that shock dart there should give away some position. The angle's held by Marv. 3 on the round, and again, cannot stress the importance of the from the shadows in the face of the showstopper to preserve his life and be the impact maker at the end of the round.
Yeah. We're really making that one work. Rockus here knows that nobody else is coming in the site. Able to get that frag. Great mental play to just stick on to that jet, and then the rest of the round was such a flurry. Like you said, Marv in the back of the site, able to grab a 3K against all odds and all that utility in front of him. And we will see what FaZe can continue to do. Feeling a bit of a groove here as they get themselves another round, maybe a 7-5 first half.
And Rockus is going to have the Hunter's Fury as well. You hear Tens using the Blade Storm early on, has an operator
Good peek
in tow. I love the peek, and you can tell early on. I don't know if the spike's going to commit that way, but they certainly want to cause some damage across the middle of the map. Baby Bay turns away. It wasn't a flash, but Tens dashes in with that Blade Storm that we mentioned, taking care of one. He's going to get tagged up, has to step away, and now the spike starts to rotate elsewhere.
See what kind of shots they can get from Garage here. It does look like they've regained the site on B. Wow. They have a 4 retake on A, so they're not worried about it. Shazam drops Corey. Make that 3 now, Doug, as Zachary answers back on Shazam.
That was only good for one. A 2v2 here. There's 100 Fury coming out of Rockus, and the spike doesn't go down.
Huge.
Marv shows up at the right time, too, to get the last kill on Zombs. Excellent response from FaZe. 7-5 at half.
Rockus showing up to the party there just as Sentinels felt like they were going to be able to capitalize on another round. He says, nope. FaZe isn't going down that easy. Brings it back up to 7-5, and it's looking much better than that first half. This one is selected by Sentinels, so FaZe is trying to give them a taste of their own medicine on their pick.
Now Sentinels on the defensive side of the map here. We mentioned at the beginning the attackers generally have a bit of a leg up because you can be far more intentional about where you want to invest your resources, right? You can do a little pulling of the string, make them think twice about where you want to go, and then commit somewhere. FaZe is also historically very good on the attacking half of most maps, really. This is where they shine. Again, this is where Zachary really is able to open up sights and allow Baby Bay and Marv to do what they do.
So this is either a full hit towards B, or maybe they go back to A on this. It looks like they're committing a lot of utility to C. It's wherever Baby Bay can keep the angles pretty close here. He actually did not go for the shorty, as I misread that, but he's still trying to get as close as possible right away. Looking for cameras everywhere. It might be here, it might be there. Could have hit it. Got him.
And look at where both Corey and Rockus are for FaZe. Right? They're so concerned about this flank through the middle of the map that they back off. Meanwhile, the remaining members of FaZe, are on the site. The paranoia is going to come out. Sentinels have to respect it. They've already dropped Zombs, and they've dropped Tens. But Sick, the guy who was the hero on this map last time around, coming up big. Dapper, good for one as well. What a response from Sentinels. You've got to be kidding me.
Dapper's patience and Sentinels comms. Dapper's just sitting there. Okay, 2 site, perfect. There's 1, probably a rotator. Here's him coming in, and then the pressure he creates after taking out Corey is enough to get the round. It just seems like they're in the right place at the right time right now, and Sentinels cannot find a way around that. Add that on to the aim being on, the operator getting under the skin of FaZe, and Sentinels is making a pretty good case for themselves here.
A judge in the hands of Tens. Now the question is, does he stay disciplined and just hold a tight angle? Or does he full send into what FaZe has cooking? Meanwhile, for FaZe, you see they don't force up. They seldom do. As it looks like they try to expose some across the middle of the map. Very similar to what we saw in the last round, Riv, where they're going to try to work their way in through Garage. Marv plays back on C. And then if that's safe, they work their way in. The one difference is... Baby Bay is not aggressively taking as much space as he was before.
And you see Rockus right now always checking his back, making sure. So he's got big flank here. Nothing on C, though, so it could start to creep around. We may see the team start to put a little bit of priority onto that.
Tens, good for one.
Oof.
That's all it was. Meanwhile, Sick going in aggressive. He gets another one, but he gets traded out as pulls continue to drop left and right, back and forth as Marv drops as well. Numbers advantage very quickly goes in favor of Sentinels as Rockus is left alone.
Wow.
He doesn't have the spike, right? That's so brutal. He's going to have to work his way in, and he cannot. Dapper sniffs out where the remaining player of FaZe was to get Sentinels to 9.
All right, FaZe. Start grabbing the rounds back here. We'll see what they can do. Like I said, I thought Haven might give them the opportunity to be able to toy with Sentinels a little bit more. That was the round advantage. Not round advantage, those are the rounds they were starting to get on Icebox. Here it's going to be A. Depending on the utility, there is a Sova lineup coming in, so it looks like that will be a committal. Kills going down may cause them to stop here, but this could be the FaZe we're looking for.
Early breach utility pushing Shazam in. Zombs back in conjunction with the dart. FaZe happy to really take that space away to hold W10s once again on the flank with the judge. Baby Bay dashes into a smoke, and they're able to respond so beautifully. Riv, this is a judge and specters, right? Into full rifles. FaZe is just down to 2. You hold the judge forward. Corey takes care of him, but Dapper's there on the other side to take care of the last one. Raucus left alone, not able to keep up with the tracing. 29 health left. And the dream looks like it's very quickly going to turn into a nightmare as Sentinels try to hunt him down and get themselves to 10. A great response here. And Riv, money is so big for Sentinels here.
Absolutely. And that round, they've been playing towards that A side just to start. Not many rounds here, but then flexing it around. They had 2, as we see Raucus go down, 2 behind default box. Baby Bay was the only one in there expecting to see 1. So both sides of default were covered. That strat was covered by Sentinels.
Yeah.
Baby Bay usually gets a 1-person trade there. Everybody else is in, but without being able to clear the same distance as Jet, he finds himself versus 2, and Sentinels is ready to hold the site, already numbers up.
And you start to worry for FaZe here. Once again, they're on a pistol. Meanwhile, Sentinels have rifles. They also have the run it back in the hands of Sick. We know how impactful of an ultimate that can be, especially in his hands. Looks like he might consider dropping that bad boy, but opting against it early on as FaZe try to feel things out.
Pushing out here. FaZe with great sheriffs on their side. Easily could take a few heads of the Sentinel squad off here and start to do some damage to that money and get some ground. Plant would be huge. And they feel like A might be the way to go. It is one of the easier sites to hold. You can avoid all of the Sova utility coming in, right? You have those 2 choke points and a pretty easy hold for 1 person in that A quadrant near Garden. So it looks like they feel comfortable here. They're also, we see FaZe a lot being able to execute on A and just overrun a team. See what we can do here is they're sourcing out where the players of Sentinels are before they choose where to go.
Oh no. So they call enough they raise enough noise to pull them over to A while they start to rotate off. And that my oh no was because you saw Sentinels, specifically Dapper and Shazam, they took up across the middle of the map, right? So they were set up for a pinch there, but as soon as that noise comes up, again, FaZe rotate out, Sentinels rotate forward towards A, and now that really resets the map, gives FaZe a lot more room to work with.
These are the rounds from FaZe that we saw on Icebox that got them a little bit of an advantage. Baby Bay with a quick classic with cheese all the way towards spawn there, Doug, and it looks like they'll have a decent post plant.
Right here. And the Blade Storm is online for Baby Bay, right? So there's a chance for something here. There's that run it back, and it instantly drops. Baby Bay from up top, he gets 1, not able to get a second. Shazam Intense, answer the call for Sentinels. Corey tries to stay alive on this corner of the site. He's got his sheriff. He's got a couple of blind shots. He's good for 1. A thrifty round win as Corey goes absolutely nuts for FaZe.
The patience of Corey. Oh my word. You know, him and Baby Bay are talked about quite a bit, and there is a reason. The opening to get in here, a few more, and Corey just steadfast. 1-2, and to the chest of 10s to give that one a 10-6 scoreline.
You even saw him there hesitate for just a moment, right? Like, who is that?
I think it's because Zachary was in such a close position, and your mind goes through, that can't be them. Oh, yeah. Wait, it is.
Yep. And fortunately for him, Tens was not any quicker to the draw as he drops ultimates, 2 ultimates in the hands of FaZe. They've got the From the Shadows and the Hunter's Fury. Meanwhile, for Sentinels, they're sitting pretty as well with a couple of their own. They're not sending anything aggressive. I like this from Sentinels, right? Like, FaZe, after they've taken that last round, let's just wait things out, right? Like, let's see where they show, and then we apply.
I like it. I like it so much better because Sentinels are a team that will play retake. I say that. I'm a broken record when I say it, especially on things like Bind. You'll see the traps by Dapper put in the site, and they're 2 in showers, 3 on B. So they come back fully with a bit of a pincer. So like we just saw there, they're more than happy to go back into C. So the longer round might play in favor of FaZe if they can get Sentinels to get in that position to retake A, is what we're currently looking at on the minimap.
Here's a flash.
Sorry, bro.
Nice shots from
30
Sick
seconds
again, man. Against 100 Thieves, plus 18 across 2 maps. Right, and he seems to be putting up equally as impressive of a performance. FaZe gonna dash into A. Here's that retake on A that you talked about, Riv. Keep an eye on Shazam. There it is, the Hunter's Fury once again with 10s as he's good for 2, looking for more. The Blade Storm still online, pushing his way through the smoke, and then he whips out a little bit of spice to keep back the Bucky, making him think twice about it. And with that in mind, there's really no way through. Sentinels take the site back. They get the defuse in the hands of Sick. A flawless round from Sentinels and a statement made again.
Absurd. And there, that shows you the confidence of Sentinels in a retake position. Especially, I say this too, with the amount of people alive and the utility on the attacking team, and the amount of utility available on the defending side, there's a high chance that utility is going to have a return on investment. You're going to find somebody hiding in a corner. That site is stacked with opponents. And Sentinels knows that. When they activate a retake, they are damn sure of where the utility's going and who's checking what angle.
And it's keeping with the Bucky. Meanwhile, for FaZe, they've got the showstopper in the hands of Corey, and they have a Hunter's Fury of their own. Let's see what they dial up here. We haven't seen that hot heavy yet. What we have seen from that is from Sentinels, and here
start.
the aggression gets punished.
Nice trades there. FaZe feeling confident to start some of these shots themselves. A little bit of a dash. Oh, don't say it so. Marv going down to 11 on that one. They're going to be all right, though, as he comes up with that frag. Always tough to shoot somebody who you don't know what their actual movement is. Then they're going to dash away. A little bit of funny business there. And we'll see what Dapper can do here. Phantom could get a few frags out.
Potentially. But I mean, you kind of...
It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Yes. Tough.
I mean, he does have Cammy, so he can at least know where he may potentially find someone to fight.
And he's going to get some info, right? Like that tap there should give him some... And then again, you know, the more we talk about this, the more maybe, right? But then, okay, the maybe's gone, right? Zachary just getting that Rolling Thunder there. Presume they don't want to have to use it in a 1v4. That's obviously not the most bang for buck. But if they have to, they do have a lot of those tools available. You already see, look at how Raucus is playing off the site, right? Just in case things go really sideways. Corey as well, kind of waiting things out, and Dapper's just gonna continue to buy his time, hopefully stay alive, carry that weapon into the next round. So for FaZe, we're starting to see some things work, right? They're able to get onto the site, and honestly, it seems to work best. it seems to work best when Sentinels don't have some of their ultimates online, right? Because when it's been Shazam with the Hunter's Fury and Tens with the Blade, they get whatever the heck they want.
Yeah. A big round there, Doug. 11-7. And we'll see some purchases here. That's going to be full util on the side of Sentinels. There's the operator coming in for 10s this time. We saw it on Shazam last map on Icebox. FaZe is going to be going into the purchase side as well. We do have 3 ultimates ready, 3 away for Baby Bay.
Yo, a bit of a different look here from Sentinels on defense. They're stacking A, right? They have 2 there, and they're going to have 10s around as well. Sick looking like he's going to try to play. Might get it. All right, we'll see here. Raucus using that Hunter's Fury to get some of that space, and with that, FaZe are able to take A long.
Yeah.
And push Sentinels back.
Nice attempt there. We often see that used to kind of choke off a defender spawn, make sure the Hunter's Fury is causing chaos and a little bit of displacement of your enemy. Not a lot of FaZe members pushed up there. It kind of was just like a tag and frag, if you will. If they hit somebody, they're moving in. So far, though, they're going to switch it up, and they're going to start playing back to the other side of the site. Again, we said this should favor Sentinels with the way... I'm sorry, FaZe, with the way Sentinels moves around throughout the mid-game. It looks like they're actually playing a pretty steady 2-1-2, though, as we finally getting Shazam to rotate out along with 10s.
Oh, man.
And there's the A again.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful because Corey was there the entire time.
Wow, by FaZe.
Right, like Corey never left. He was able to get info, understanding that nobody was pushing their way in.
So smart.
After all of the noise is cut, they're going to pull off.
Everyone's at C.
Well, and the thing is here for Sentinels is that they are going to be able to fully retake as 5, right? They don't have some of the tools that have proven to be so effective in the past. but they are going to be able to retake his 5. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I also want to keep an eye on some of the post plays from FaZe. Zachary with the Rolling Thunder, he can play back or he can go in aggressive, understanding as soon as he gets a tell on where Sentinels are coming from, he can push that back and buy time.
I love these retakes. 5v5 spike planted. You hardly ever see this. And you get to see how the util is perfectly used to retake the site.
Oh, Sick gets a kill, and that's what he needs to get the rolling, or excuse me, to run it back. Hens with the operator gets one. Sick once again, showing the efficacy of that ultimate. The spike is going to start to get abused. Dapper sticking on it. Zombs continues to stick the matter to FaZe. Sentinels are on map point, a flawless round.
Defuse the spike. Match point.
Doug, that is absurd. Absolutely absurd, the execution Sentinels is putting forth. Let's just watch this again. The smoke's out immediately, and it just causes so much chaos.
And again, it was sick, Riv, because even before he has the run it back online, dropping down, he does 2 things that are insane for the round. Drops down, gets the kill onto Zachary, right? That's great. But then he also negates the Rolling Thunder, right? He was channeling it up. They waited to see where that aggression was coming from. It comes offline, and then from that point on, it was all Sentinels all day. FaZe,
My word.
looking to stay alive here, looking to avoid a trip down to the loser's bracket. To the lower bracket, excuse me, and they don't have ideal weaponry, Riv. This does not look good if you're FaZe.
Honestly, I would be terrified if I had to face Sentinels here on out. FaZe is still FaZe. They're a team to be reckoned with. Sentinels, however, just really feeling the vibe today. Marv looking to keep the team alive here. The 4v3, Doug. The possibilities there as Corey comes up big.
Yeah, FaZe in a real pretty spot here. They've been able to upgrade a couple of weapons as well, so now it's just Zachary, who's still got a Sheriff.
Wow, Shaz.
That's Shazam. And Tens in a 2v3. He has the op, but that's all he's really got here. And the other problem is, Riv, they're on the opposite side of the map. Zachary's going to be able to get the spike down, and it's going to be a bit of what we saw last time, right? They still have that Rolling Thunder. They still are in a decent position here, but Sentinels don't have the same firepower to retake A that they did previously.
So B or C to A has been the play now for FaZe. They're figuring out Sentinels, and like I said, it's not like Sentinels is falling for this strat every time. They're happy for the retake, and that's what FaZe just has to play off of. They have to be more sure that they're going to be able to snuff Tens as soon as he gets in, even if he's dashing into your face with the operator like it's a damn shotgun. Shazam and the rest of the team trying to do blind and find with the utility they have, because Sentinels is not coming back in with grenades. They're not throwing a bunch of utility that's going to do damage. That's the blind and find retake, and it's super effective if used right.
And in that instance, they did not have, as you said, some of those tools that are insanely effective when used correctly to take the site back.
Yeah.
That's going to get FaZe to 8.
Great job by FaZe.
Yeah, Riv, you've got to play perfect Valorant here the rest of the way.
And
just
I
to
mean,
get
that's
to
what we've
overtime.
seen from them, right? They have been undefeated up until this point.
That's true. Very, very true for Sentinels. An operator still in the hands of Tens. Rifles the rest of the way. No early aggression. Really from either squad. Understanding that the moment, understanding how tense this is. Sick. My gosh!
What do you do? What do you play against? Your strat just got picked apart once. It's going to be the plant mid. I still like this from FaZe, because if you act that fast, Sentinels is going to think they have you on the back foot. So you quickly planning, they now have to react. And FaZe has been able to get pretty good ground on rounds like this.
And again, Zachary still has that Rolling Thunder. He's got to stay alive. He's got to be able to provide value from that if they want to keep this site as theirs. There's that Rolling Thunder, but Sick once again on the swing, takes care of Baby Bay. The Blade Storm's offline. Dapper gets once as well. Sam starting to stick the spike.
Oh my God,
Zachary
Dapper
has to swing, and he doesn't have any choices. Raucus left alone in a 1v5, and it doesn't matter. The spike is diffused right out of under his nose. Sentinels absolutely extinguish the Smeeg. An impressive 2-0 win, and they're going to the grand finals.
So many things came together today for Sentinels that honestly made it impossible. Look at me. I've been grabbing my hair and just I've been going like this for every round. It just did not allow FaZe to play their game. We still saw them getting into sight, trying to pop off, playing a bit of that confidence defense. And I like that we saw FaZe iterate to know Sentinels would have a hell of a defense. I mean, they set up a brick house over there. And Sentinels, they kept changing. They kept iterating a little bit more. And it was down to the aim in some of those rounds, right? We just saw Dapper do that in the last round, and it was happening throughout the entire series.
Right, and you know, I missed some of the post-game stats, but it felt like a complete performance out of Sentinels. We highlighted Sick at the beginning and how like stalwart he is and how consistent he is. When he's needed, the man answers the call, and you saw him do it here. Tens also had another incredible game. Shazam, it really, across the board, Sentinels look terrifying, Riv. I think they're, as you said, that's a scary team to play right now. And they're doing so with Tens just recently joining the roster.
That was my next point. It's even more scary that they grab Tens and just run with it as strong as they are. You got to watch as much as you can. There's footage of them now here in VCT Masters and a bit before, but they're something else right now, and it's hard to say if they could be stopped.
They may not be. They've punched a ticket to the grand finals. We're going to throw it over the desk to break down just how impressive Sentinels were, what was lacking from FaZe, and what we can expect moving forward. Bach, she's all ears.
Thank you very much, Doug. An uninspiring performance across the series from FaZe. We didn't see that Smeeg playstyle that we've come to love, as it seemed like Baby Bay was contained there by their side. And, you know,
you saw it.
Looking
it
at
didn't
the score,
work, Bach.
Yeah, Veli, looking at the score line, 12 and 16 on Icebox, 14 and 18 on Haven. Not the numbers that we expect to hear from Baby Bay.
No, not at all. But then you know what it is? Sentinels, and I think they found out what Baby Bay does. They found out his habit. Now, FaZe Clan's pushes, they're kind of predictable, but it doesn't seem like that at first. Now, there was a push on that Tens was defending on A, and this is something that I actually want to VOD review, right? There was two cloudbursts that went on the site next to that big green box in the middle, default box. So what happens is when Tens dashes into one of those clouds, he's only going to have two options. He's expecting everyone in that front line to turn around and look at him and try to, you know, pew him. But the thing is, Tens, he calls it out, he pings it. His teammates wrap around the box and get that easy kill. FaZe Clan, they don't have a plan B, and they have not shown a plan B yet this series when Baby Bay falls. And, you know, rightfully so. This is the first time it's happened. I think that Sentinels has finally showed us the way. Now, all the Sean Garris and everyone out there, I think we finally have our answer. I don't think it's this easy, but FaZe Clan, they're going to have to be more dynamic with Baby Bay pushing in first to make sure that whatever Tim's is doing in the back line, we saw it with Zoms as well, that it doesn't happen once more.
It goes back to the conversation of what Shazam was saying before on his own streams, when it's like, hey, when teams are trying to catch us off guard, we'll just learn it. Sometimes we could play the same style as you and play it better. And that's what I felt when I was watching Tens versus Baby Bay, because Tens dashed so many times in the site and actually won against Baby Bay. Yeah. So what's another tactic that FaZe did when they were playing other teams? Find their star player, and kill them right away. I felt that's what Tens was doing versus Baby Bay. Yep. So Baby Bay was still top fragging, but he's still not as effective for the team because he was eliminated much quicker against Tens.
Potter, looking specifically at the agent composition, one of the things that we noticed about the way that FaZe plays is they don't bring a Sentinel into the fold. We've talked about that before and how it tends to work for them occasionally, but here on Haven, it really seemed to backfire as it made their post-plant holds very difficult.
Yeah, exactly. And it tends to work for them because Baby Bay is usually able to get away with the shenanigans. But as Van Silly mentions, he was a bit neutered this series, not feeling as effective as we've seen him in previous series. And that was all thanks to Tens and all thanks to the teamwork coming out from these Sentinels guys. And I gotta mention round 19 in particular, those Sentinels you speak about, Bach. We had a 5v5 post plant at that A site, and we had two members from FaZe having to stay back, having to watch and hold the flank, and that doesn't have enough bodies for FaZe in the site to play those post-plant scenarios. So then you have Sentinels who's able to have a pre-take sick, just dropping out of heaven quickly with the bang. Here it is, it's this round right here highlighted. And it was things like this where Sentinels are able to read a pretty telegraphed play coming out of FaZe, over-rotate, pre-take into the site, and just honestly make it look easy.
So nice.
Yeah. Just to add quickly, sorry about that, Bach, because of that too, because you have two players holding in the back, and the Sentinels for those 2 rounds, they played retake at the same time, right? 5-player retakes, as Riv was like, oh, I'm excited for these ones to look at this. But what comes into a post plant for FaZe? They're basically on a 5 versus 3 inside the site, which makes it a lot harder for them to hold. So that was 2 flawless rounds that Sentinels were able to get towards the end, and that was based off a lot of utility on the retakes too. I mean, the recon guards are perfect. I saw amount of times of cameras even got tags on the retakes too that allowed for Sentinels to just push through these smokes and 10s through the cloudburst to get those kills too.
And we'll take a look at the statistics in a second, but one thing it won't show us is that flawless round count. One thing I would love to know is how many flawless round victories did Sentinels actually have? Because when you actually look back and watch some of those rounds, you mentioned it there, the lack of, the Sentinel made it a little bit easier for Sentinels to get into the site. And I know we're saying Sentinels a lot. Sorry, that's just the nature of the fact that there's agents and a team with the same name. But they were able to get multiple flawless rounds on retakes even. And it just felt like FaZe could not stop the retakes from happening over and over again. When you look there, you can see the comparison side by side. The MVPs for both teams. It's no surprise that Baby Bay's at the top for FaZe, but it's not the numbers we typically expect to see from him, Belly. Look at the performance from Sick, though. Absolutely beast mode.
No. I still want to look at FaZe. Sick is a beast. Shazam, Zombs, everyone in their respective roles has played perfect. The way they countered stratted FaZe, though, is a cause for concern. Their stat lines were out of control. Now look at them. Outside of that initial pick, they have struggled. They have playmakers on this roster. My question is now that they're gonna have time, how are they gonna change that up? Are they gonna game plan to come better? Because Sentinels sure as hell did. FaZe Clan, listen, they got a new coach. He's up here dancing and everything. I want to see that man put in some work and make sure that FaZe come back better, because what we saw today, I don't think this is gonna be the FaZe that we should expect next time they're on screen.
Potter, looking at this style of play, we talked about it coming out of the first map. Is this potentially the crack showing in FaZe's approach? Is this not sustainable? Is there a possibility that this just won't work as you go up the food chain?
I think there's still a lot of questions to I like the look of Zachary on Breach. We saw an immediate change of pace coming out from the FaZe guys. Icebox was looking pretty lackluster, but at least on Haven, they were able to trade rounds back and forth with Sentinels, and it's really off the back of Zachary's flashes. He was teeing up his mates to get those frags. We just need another layer, one more layer coming out from FaZe, a plan B of sorts, to be able to effectively trade Baby Bay. Listen, it's hard to trade a jet that's able to dash and just mobility speed boost all the way up ahead of you. So we need to see a little bit more layers coming up from FaZe.
Well, we do have Sue standing by for the post-match interview presented by Verizon. Get your hashtag ZomsNation ready in the chat. Sue, it's all yours.
Thank you, as always, Bach, and congratulations to Zoms. You guys are just looking so damn good. And already in the grand finals, only dropping a single map along the way. How much more does this mean, considering last time at First Strike, your road stopped in the top 4, but this time finally in that grand finals?
Yeah, we're super happy to get into grand finals. I think the most important thing is just the points towards champions. That's what we're happy about, especially with the scenario we were in.
Speaking of that scenario, it's been crazy to see not just how comfortably you guys have set up 10s to perform, but doing so while maintaining the impact from the rest of you. You yourself had an amazing map on Icebox. So talk about what that process has looked like, and if it's been as easy privately in practice and in talks, because on the server, you guys are absolutely showing up, every single one of you.
Yeah, honestly, Tyson fits in pretty easily. We didn't have to do much, and I think we just play our normal game, and it just works out fine.
And speaking about Icebox, it was interesting because we saw when FaZe was facing Envy on Icebox, it felt like Envy couldn't do their plan at all. In fact, FaZe was just having a party on A. But with you guys, it was a complete reversal. It looked like you had a plan going into it. FaZe could not get their ball rolling. So headed into the match, was that a plan that you guys had to shut them down early on, or what was the preparation like beforehand?
I don't know. I don't think we prepared that much, but I think we just shut them down like so hard on our CT side that, and we also won T side pistol that we were ahead by so much that it was just like they couldn't do anything to get back into the game at that point. And like Shazam also like studies like before we play and stuff, so we know their tendencies.
Well, we certainly saw that. And now with this victory, you're in the grand finals, which of course is great. But I'm sure all of you guys are hungry to take the whole thing. You have one of 3 potential opponents, 2 of which you've already faced and taken down. FaZe that you just faced, as well as the other teams. But with the 3 remaining teams, I guess, do you have a preference there, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we struggled against Envy the most recently, so I guess that'd be like the least favorable one. But I mean, I don't think it matters too much to us, so we'll play anyone.
Well, it's fantastic to see the confidence that you guys have had, and congratulations again on that amazing performance. We are going to head back to Bach to wrap up the day.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sams.
A big congratulations to Sentinels and crew as they get ready and they sit in the finals, waiting to see who's going to be joining them from the lower bracket.
Oh,
and I think one thing that's been really interesting coming into this, there was a question mark. Who is #1 in the region? Like, that was something that a lot of people were asking coming into this event. Who is #1? And a lot of the teams that may have been in that conversation got eliminated before this point. And then some of the teams just got eliminated today, one of them being 100 Thieves. I think Sentinels is making a statement at this point to say they are hands down #1 and better than they've ever been. What are your thoughts there, Veli? Because clearly you're agreeing with me.
Name another game or sport in real life where the best player in the world comes in, joins already one of a top 2 team, and dominates 2-0, 2-0. It's actually insane what Sentinels are doing. I'm gonna say it right now. They look like the best, and it looks like nobody could stop them. Looks like nobody could stop FaZe, but Sentinels did. But you know what? Tomorrow we're gonna find out a lot. I think Sentinels deserve to be in the grand finals with everything that they've been through. And yeah, this is just crazy, Bach. Brackets are screwed up right now, man. I would have never predicted any of this, to be honest.
Dude, Sentinels, we had the conversations. Was it Sentinels or was it TSM when we were looking at the Ignition series, right?
Yes.
And now TSM's out of the picture. Then First Strike happens, and it's 100 Thieves that wins with a brand new roster, of course, that Hiko built up. And then the conversations now, 100 Thieves is gone. Who's in another grand finals now? It's Sentinels. I think it's safe to say even that we take away the conversation of Sentinels being top 2, now just being #1 in North America, because I'm reading a tweet for Shazam here. Another tournament, another grand finals. Proud of my team, strongest mental in the game. And I strongly agree that they have the strongest mental in the game right now.
Yes.
We'll see what they've got in store for us as they're going to be sitting in the grand finals, which will be played out on Sunday. But tomorrow, we've got 2 more games to see who's going to be facing off against them in the finals. We're going to kick things off with Gen G versus Envy. The winner of that game will go on to face off against FaZe. And even though FaZe fell short against Sentinels, both teams have something to fear because they're the type of teams that FaZe has been feasting on throughout VCT and illustrating this strong performance that we've seen from them up until this match today. So it's definitely not going to be easy for either one. But even that first game, not really sure which direction that's going to go. Could be Gen G, or it could be Envy moving on. I know which direction Vansili is going to be rooting for, as he made the prediction right as this show started, all the way back last week, that Envy was going to win the whole thing. I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you an out, Vansili.
Oh,
no outs.
Do you still hold true to that? Do you think Envy's going to take this whole thing after watching Sentinels just crush FaZe?
I'll be honest and say potentially not, but I still have to stick to my word. So I still have to stick with Envy towards the end.
respect.
Yeah. Game recognized game. Well, I wish Envy the best of luck as they go off against Gen G tomorrow, and then the winner of that will play FaZe. We'll be live here again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 2 more matches, 2 teams potentially going home. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you then.